Hello humans and welcome back to the Tao Way. In today's video we're going to go over range of motion. Now this is a highly debated topic in a lot of different disciplines, but I think it's very simple. We want to be using full range of motion in all exercises. In today's video I'm going to go over what is full range of motion, when would you not use full range of motion, and ways to measure the range of motion so you can have progress over the long term. Using full range of motion can help with our ego, with the quality of movement, and with developing strength over a wide range of motion. So in today's video I'm going to give you a bunch of different examples, different exercises that use different ranges of motion, how to measure the range of motion, how to progress it, and when you should use reduced range of motion and why. If you enjoyed this video, please remember to leave a like, and let's get into range of motion. So like I've said, we want to use full range of motion. Let's take this push-up for example. We're hitting the chest to the ground at the bottom, and we are locking out the elbows at the top. These are my two markers. I need to hit something at the bottom of the range, and I'm extending fully at the top of the range to gain full range of motion. If we take this to a one-arm push-up, this would be the same. I'm hitting the chest to the ground, and I'm locking out that one arm at the top. These are my two ranges. I need to have something to hit at the bottom, and I need to have that elbow extension at the top to make sure I have that full range. I do not want to do something like this where I don't hit anything at the bottom, so I'm neglecting that bottom portion of the movement, and I don't want to do something where I would neglect the top portion of the movement as well. So this is where you'd see I'm neglecting that lockout at the top. I'm not getting to that full range of motion. I do not want this to happen. I should have a full lockout and hit something at the bottom. Now in the one-arm chin-up here would be the example of missing out at that bottom range. I do not want to do this. So I want to hit the chest to the bottom, lock it out at the top. Now, there are a lot of circumstances when you wouldn't use full range of motion. So let's take a straddle press to handstand for example. If you are not strong enough to do the full range of motion, what we can do is elevate your feet onto a surface to allow you to get some reps. So in this example, I'm using a bench from outside and using this as my range of motion. So I would measure how high this is, write it in my notebook, and each session I would try to go down on the range of motion and keep the reps the same. So right here, you can see I'm just tapping very lightly on the bench, and I'm using that as my full range of motion for now. And as I get better, I will increase until I can do it on the ground. So right now we're going to see after some time, then I can start to go from a little bit lower of a platform and start to press from there, and making sure that the quality is high. One thing I want to make sure when I'm doing things like this is I don't want to smash down on whatever platform that I'm doing. I want to come down very, very soft. I like to tell my students, come down like you are going to come down on broken glass, as soft as if you're going to walk onto broken glass. So you can see I'm not hitting that platform very hard. I'm not putting weight there. I'm just using it as a little thing to make sure that I'm hitting the range of motion. And then eventually I can go on to the full version where I can do straddle presses from the ground. Now this will take a long time. I'm just showing you one thing that you can do to develop range of motion over the long term. Another example that I want to give is one of the handstand push-up. So if you're having trouble doing the full handstand push-up with the head to the ground, what you can do is put a platform there and hit the head to the platform on every single rep. That way you're practicing the movement itself and you're gaining strength over time. And then over time you can start to decrease that platform until you can do reps to the floor. Now the same as the push-up, we want to be extending at the top in the handstand, and we need to hit something to the ground. So I need to hit my nose or my head to the ground on each rep, or else it is not a full range of motion rep. Now this is something I definitely do not want to see with the handstand push-up. I'm not hitting my head to a platform or the floor, so it's going to be really difficult to progress this in the future and actually see if I'm getting stronger or able to understand the pattern better. I need to hit my head to the ground on each rep. Now another reason we might not use full range of motion is if we have pain in that area. We definitely don't want to go into any pain. So what you can do if you have pain is decrease the range of motion, but use something to hit at the bottom of the range of motion like I'm using here with my clock. Over time I can put the clock face down so I can increase that range of motion, and as the pain starts to go away and as I get stronger in that range, I can go further and further until I can do a full push-up hitting my chest to the ground. We not only want to apply this to strength training, but also to mobility work. So here in the pancake, you can see I'm measuring each time. The first with the elbows, then I go to the top of the forehead, and I'm going to make my way down my body to measure how I'm doing. So then I hit the nose, the next one will be the chin, and I'm going further and further so that I know that I'm making progress and I can measure it, write it down, and progress on the next session. If I weren't to hit this every time, it would be difficult to progress this in the future and know that I'm getting that full range of motion work. So just a quick recap, with anything that we do, we want to be using full range of motion. If you cannot do the full range, we want to measure how high we are away from the full range. So we can use a platform, we can use something to hit on every time, whether it's strength training or mobility training. We want to be going towards that full range of motion. If you have any pain going in the range of motion, then reduce the range of motion, reduce the intensity, reduce the complexity so there is no pain, and then slowly build that full range of motion back in. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments down below. I'll see you in the next video, and that's the session.